What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we talk all things reality TV or whatever per. As you see, this is another special episode because we are joined by Moose Bendago from Big Brother Canada 10. Moose, how you feeling?
What's up? I'm good, Pharaoh. I'm good, Lee. Life is good. I'm chilling right now in Toronto, just trying to make a little bit of extra cash right now.
I know
So
that's right.
I'm I'm on my work grind is where I'm at. But no, life is good. I'm feeling blessed.
Yes, sir. So, the season was a few months ago, so you've had time to decompress. How you feeling? How's it been? Leaving the house and all of the outside world affecting you. How's that going? How are you feeling about all that?
It's going good. The transition was a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. I'll be quite frank. It was like I didn't imagine that being locked in that environment for so long was going to affect my mental so much. Obviously, you're excited to get out of the house and, you want to see people and talk about things, but it can be very overwhelming. Outside of people that hit you up or are catching up with you or say, oh my God, like I can't believe you're on the show. You see fans a lot in the street, which is amazing because I love these people who watch the show and supported us. But it was a lot. It was one of the most interesting transitions I'd say I've ever had to make in my life. Off of something so big. And I'm still dealing with it even a little bit today, but I think all of us deal with it in different ways and every player has their own sort of ability to cope with it, but it's slowly but surely now gotten back to normal. But for the first month, I could say for sure, I almost couldn't recognize myself because it was like, I felt like I was a completely different person.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then also since the experience,
Mm-hmm.
I know going into it, you weren't necessarily like the biggest fan of the game. Like after leaving and coming off the show, are you kind of like more into it? Are you excited for like BB24 and like BB Can 11, things like that?
Listen, I play games. Okay. Like, so I'm a gamer. I play Catan and Monopoly Deal and Uno. So playing Big Brother, I think it's the best game I've played by far.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the game. I love playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
BB24. I'm gonna be touching down in New York for the premiere. So I think I have some investment in this season, regardless. I'm gonna watch. I think I'm gonna watch. I know it is a commitment, so I'm preparing myself for that. But
yeah, for sure. You gotta get into the feeds. You gotta be there every Thursday.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm gonna have to be in touch with y'all right here in case I miss anything. But no, I'll like, honestly, I think I am gonna watch it, and I want to watch season 9 because I'm lucky enough that I've gotten to meet a few of the players from that season, and I'm like so keen to see what their dynamic was. I've heard about all the drama. I know what happened in season 9. So but I want to watch. I still haven't finished my season yet. So my problem is that I'm a slow watcher. Like for example, I've been watching Ozark for like 4 years. It's like, people are like, oh, I finished all 7 seasons. And like, I know there's not 7, but it's like, they're like, I finished it yesterday. I'm like, what? So I'm a slow watcher, which is my problem, but I am going to get into it. I do love Big Brother, the game. Playing it, I think obviously it was one of the coolest things that you could do. I love playing things. So I want to watch this American season. I don't, and analyze a little bit and see how people are playing and stuff like that. So I think BBUS I will be, and BB Can 11 1000% I will be watching that for sure to support people that are coming on.
Yeah, awesome. Or you'll be in it if it's All Stars. You never know.
Hey, you never know, man. You never know. Listen, if they give me that call, I might pick up if it's All Stars for next season. Like, I think it was like it would be great. Going in back-to-back years, though, I think would be a little bit of fun.
Yeah. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, hey. We'll see.
All right, let's go ahead and get into your game. And we can talk about so first of all, week 1, when we started the season, the fans didn't really get to see much of week 1. It was basically one episode was week 1. So we didn't get enough of that information. So how was it for you week 1 coming into the house, just first initially seeing everyone and like kind of developing those dynamics within the game? How was that?
I mean, it was exciting. I was excited. I was like, again, I watched kind of the beginning of this game here, and they're calling me the party animal and all that stuff. Like, I wasn't even drinking. I didn't even know what they're talking about. I do party though, so don't get me wrong. But it was exciting to meet people. It was exciting to say hi and connect and really just like be excited to get ready to play this game. And and then the game started and everybody. It's funny because everybody's first game conversation was with Summer, because Summer was just to everybody like, so like, have you talked game with anyone yet? That was her line. So it was because we talked about this like in the house. We're like, who's the first person? Like, I think this was like week 6 or something. We're like, who's the first person to talk game with? And everyone's like, Summer. So it was kind of that thing. We were all like kind of waiting to break the seal, and I think she broke the seal for pretty much the majority of the house. And it was. I was honestly there just to kind of soak in the experience and understand how I was going to play early on. That's what I was at. I was like, let me understand how this is going to go forward. Let me see how this game works. I was learning as I was going, right? I'd only watched one season. It was just one of those things that slowly but surely I was going to try to figure out how to play. But week 1 was just a matter of for me building relationships, because I was lucky enough to secure safety. So because I had safety, I was like, and I liked Herman, which funnily enough, and Herman does know this, I did not like him the moment he walked into the I'm like, this dude is gonna be like, because I don't like people that are like unnecessarily positive. You know what I mean? Like over positive all the time. Positivity is great. I'm a very positive person. Don't get me wrong. But people that like live in positivity, that's what I thought Herman was when he came in. He's like, oh yeah, I expressed myself through my shoes, and I was like, shut up, bro. I was like, I can't. I was like, I don't even want to deal with this guy. And then 2 days later, I'm like, this is the best dude ever, and I love him. He's great. So I liked Herman, and Josh and I we had got off on a great start right from the beginning, talking about family and relationships and stuff. We slid into a good group for that first week, and I was just kind of trying to see how much Herman would listen to what I would say, and if he was interested in what I was doing, and if we were going to work together. So that's kind of what the first week was for me, is figuring out how I was going to play and building my relationships because I had safety.
Yeah, and I feel like honestly earlier in the weeks it was almost like you were setting up to kind of be like this puppet master of sorts, because I remember like there was a scene with Herman and y'all were kind of building like who would go up and things like that, and it seemed like when you spoke with him, you were kind of the one that was really pushing that. And then we go into week 2, and it's like it's kind of the similar thing with Marty in a way. It's kind of like, you definitely had a lot of say so in those earlier decisions that was going on. So did you see yourself kind of being in that position? Did you want to play that role, or like as you did?
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to more for sure. I think that my whole thing was I wanted to let people make their own decisions, but by also letting them know what I wanted. So that's kind of what I thought was going to be the way I could do it. I wanted to like, subliminally let people know where my head was at, while also giving them, and I wasn't afraid to say names. That was the thing with me, like, because everyone, tiptoeing and it's early days. I was like, yo, this, that, and the other, like, this is what I feel. So, with Marty, I was lucky because I basically, me, Marty, Kyle, and Gino had an alliance from the first day. So before HOH happened, the first day, we're like, Marty came into the room. He's like, hey guys, if I win HOH, I'm not putting any of you up. I was like, hey, you know what? This isn't a bad idea. So I was like, again, me knowing Kyle, which we can get into later, knowing him, I was like, this is great. I'm like, this guy is saying he's not going to put us up. I know Kyle. I'm going to work with Kyle, obviously. This Gino guy seems cool. So I said, hey, why don't the 4 of us work together? I was like, let's 4 of us, let's be in a secret alliance. I'm like, let's let nobody know about this for the entire season. Okay, let's be in a secret alliance. And it was like, cool, no doubt. So Marty he wasn't feeling skeptical of me at that time, but when he was interested in putting up Jay, I was like, you know what? That's not me. So would I have liked Jay to stay around longer as a bigger target? Yes. However, I will say a very good majority of us, or a lot of people felt that Jay would have done a very, very good job had they stayed in the house longer. And we knew that they were a threat, and that they would have lied a lot and schemed and been, a drama master. So I saw that as an opportunity to kind of get rid of a strong player right from the get-go, as opposed to, keeping them around for them to cause more drama in the season. But I talked to Marty a little bit that week. And he let me know what he was doing, which was the biggest thing. But he just started to get skeptical of me because I didn't want to be seen in rooms with him. I didn't want, and them, all three of them. I didn't want to be seen in rooms with Kyle, Gino, or Marty, because everybody in the house at that point was like, Marty and Gino are a thing because they're both French speakers and they hang out all the time. Kyle and Gino Kyle and Marty are working together. They're both East Coast guys. They hang out all the time. Inevitably, the three of them were getting put into a group. And I was like, look, I am the only outlet right now that we have with other people in the house. You guys are obviously fine and have, Gino, you have your relationships and you're working, kind of talking to Steph and Jace here, but I'm with Tanisha and Herman and Summer. I have people right now, and we had the Savage 7 as well, which Gino knew about. So I was trying to explain to them, look, I just don't want this 4 to get outed. Like, let's keep this a secret. I don't want to be seen with you guys. And Marty, saw that as a, he didn't deal with like people like that in the real world, which makes sense, because he's like, why don't we just hang out? Why don't we be seen together? Like, let's be an alliance.
Exactly.
I'm like, no, that's not how this game works, man. Like, we need a secret. Like, there needs to be a secret for us to uphold. If we can be this big boisterous group, but I don't think that'll benefit us in the long run. Which he inevitably understood later on. That was kind of where we were at early on in the weeks, is that Marty was letting me know about his plans, but he started to become a little bit skeptical of me as things were going forward.
And yeah, I was just gonna say, that definitely connects with that week, because I remember, in Marty's week, that was that whole talk of like, oh, well, should we replace him with Herman potentially, because we see him bouncing around? And I feel like you explained that really well. It's like there was a reason behind that. Like, I was trying to protect the group overall. So in this situation, you at this point were loyal to the boys. Like, that was your main allegiance.
That's what I was gonna ask.
In this week.
Yeah, no, that was it. Like, those guys were my guys. I was like, I'm going to rock with these 4 dudes for the rest of the game. Like, we have the Savage 7. That's cool. We have the numbers to vote now, but otherwise, like, and I repeatedly said this to them. You are my main priority. You guys are my main priority. I promise you. I know it looks like I'm on the other side. Believe me, I am with you. You are my main priority. I only care about these 4 people. I don't care about anybody else. And I tried to make that as clear as possible, but it unfortunately got muddled in that next week. But at that point, those 4 guys are my priority, or those 3 guys were my priority, are that group of 4. Herman was next on that list. Tanisha was right there. And then everybody else was Bob's your uncle. It didn't really matter to me, but those were my main people that I cared about the most.
Okay. Interesting. And so that was week 2. And then, so week 3, we can take this piece by piece. First of all, did you want, of course you were loyal to them, so you wanted Kyle to win. You were happy that Kyle won.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. So Kyle wins. Initially you're happy. So first of all, let's talk about, how do you know Kyle? What's the tea?
So essentially, this tea isn't that piping hot, but basically, so Kyle and I went to university together in a very small program. It's called sport media, radio and television. People kind of underestimated the understanding of that, because I'm sure, as you guys know, in university, it's huge. There's massive classes, depending, if you're in a business course, there's thousands of people in your program. My program was like maybe 60 to 80 people per class. So the grand total of students that were in sport media was about 400 at most, I'd say. Like, that was, and that's stretching it, for 4 years. Like, my year that I was in, it was the second year that had ever been in this program. So when Kyle's year came, there were only even 3 years. There weren't even 4 years of students. There were 3 years of students. So we all knew each other pretty intimately, not very, very well with everybody, but we all knew each other. We worked on broadcasts together. I used to do sideline reporting for the hockey teams and the basketball teams. Kyle would be doing camera. I'd see him at parties. I knew some of his friends pretty closely. Him and I never hung out one-on-one. We barely ever hung out in group environments. always, it was strictly at, social gatherings, sometimes at games. I'd see him at basketball games and we would talk here and there. I never, knew each other very, very well, but we very much knew each other though. Like that's how, like I talked to this guy before and about school and had, he wasn't even a passerby. It was somebody I was like, I know this dude. Like if I see him in the street, I'll say hi type of thing.
So in the game, did you guys have a conversation about working together prior to this, that very specifically like laid it out, or was it more of an understanding, or how did that go about?
Yeah, so that's the problem, Pharaoh. And this is where I messed up. I essentially took it as it was, which was that it was an unspoken thing. That we were fine with each other. That's what it was. Like we had a conversation right on the first day and I was like, oh my God, bro, what are we doing here? I thought Big Brother had messed up. I was like, there's no way that the two of us are allowed to be in here. Like that's literally how I felt genuinely. I was like, are we going to get eliminated from the game for knowing each other? Like, this is how naive I was to Big Brother. Genuinely. I thought we were both going home. Like, no way that we can work together. So, it was one of those things where I'm like, hey, look, like, hey man, like this would be great. I mentioned, I was like, hey, wouldn't it be great if, two sport media guys lasted the longest in this house type of thing. But I never was like, hey man, final two. Hey, like you're my number one. I never had that conversation with him. Which was a mistake. I wish I did. I wish I had made it clear to him how much I valued him as a player. Because I really felt that we didn't have it on a lock, but like we had it on the ropes. Like I feel like it would have been a boring season had him and I actually been on the same page, because everything that we wanted to happen essentially happened, except maybe for week 5. But even then I feel like we could have worked that out. So for this week, it was like, I was very happy to see Kyle win. I wanted Josh to win. Like Josh was right there too. Had Josh won, it would have been great and things would have gone fine. But Kyle winning, it was just things moved on from there. So Kyle won. That's what Kyle won, and he's in the HOH room, and I'm happy. I went into the cameras, and I'm like, another safe week in the Big Brother house. This is gonna be a breeze. I literally said that into the cameras to my lunacy of my own.
So initially, I don't even remember. Initially, I wanted to target Betty,
and then
and Josh.
No, so I think
I'm glad you know, because
so I think he initially wanted to put up Steph and Betty. I think I think that was the initial plan. He didn't want to put up Josh because Josh was a part of the 7.
Initially, yeah.
Josh
trying to remember the logic. It's just so hard. Sorry.
So it was me, Herman, Summer, Tanisha, Josh, Gino, and Kyle. Yeah. 7. And he didn't want to. So he didn't want to target Josh. It was Steph. It was Steph and Betty, because I was like, this is perfect. These are two people that are not in alliances. You're gonna put up Gino, Marty. This is great. Where things started to get astray is when I started to be a little bit too honest with Kyle. I was, and honestly, this is how I felt, was starting to become a little bit skeptical of Herman and Tanisha. More so Herman. Here's the reason why. Him and I had agreed not to talk in public. We were like, let's keep because everybody was roping us together. They're like, yo, are you and Herman? Like you and Herman are like obviously a duo. And I was like, no. And we never did final 2 or anything like that. And even as we go, by the way, I never made a final 2, final 4 with anybody, which again, also feel was a detriment to my game. I feel like these are things that people do in Big Brother to, if I were to go again, it's something I would do. But I never had final 2, never had final 4s with anybody like that. So Herman and I were like, let's stay away from each other. I don't want people to rope us together. That's fine. But every single day he was hanging out with Tanisha in public like they were best friends.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, you've been pretty adamant, as was I, about not hanging out, yet you seem to be quite keen on being seen with Tanisha a lot. So why are you two so comfortable? Yet when we're in a room, and this is a reflection on the mirror of the Marty thing, right? When we're in a room, it's like, yo, I got to get out of here. So now I totally understood how Marty felt later on, is that why were you doing that, right? And it was because like I would try to say something to Herman, and he wouldn't we wouldn't get deep into game conversation, and he would like get out of there, even though I was trying to like make moves. So I was like, this dude is going to ruin me. I'm like, inevitably, he's going to cut me out. Because I saw him as such a smart player after the first week and the conversations we were having in the HOH room. I'm like, this guy gets it. He understands the game. And I think he understands the game so well that, again, I didn't see myself as a big player or a threat or anything like that. It was more so that I saw myself as a very social player, and it was very evident that that was there. And he saw that as a threat as well to his game. So I'm like, him and Tanisha are inevitably going to try to get me out somehow. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to do it. This is when I was like a youngin'. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh my God, I thought I was some big brain, smart player. Then I'm like, Herman is I felt, and I said this, I felt that at the end of the season, it was going to be Herman's side of the house and Moose's side of the house, because I had Marty, Gino, and Kyle. Even though 2 of those guys were in the 7, Herman was still publicly rocking with Tanisha and Summer, so inevitably I thought that was where we were going to split by like week 5. And that's when like the war was going to begin.
Yeah.
So I told all of this to Kyle. However, he saw that as me being manipulative. He thought that I was trying to say these things to cast doubt in his mind about Herman. He thought I was, and to his credit, like I understand why he felt that way, especially after the fight with Steph. Now, this is where the fight with Steph came in. That's where he was like, okay, like, he had been hearing all these things about me, and Marty was being skeptical of me. And he was like, why is Moose telling me that he wants to get rid of Herman? That makes no sense. Brings me into the conversation with Steph. I obviously cover his tracks like an assassin, So him seeing me have that conversation with Steph is what sparked in his mind that I was somebody that was capable of doing that.
Yeah.
Which is why he came to the conclusion that putting me up would make sense, because he saw me as somebody that was probably disloyal and was just tied to the whole house, as opposed to really, really committed to them.
Yeah. And I felt like, as someone who was watching, like, when Stephanie went down and she got you and you came back up to the room, and basically Stephanie let out that Kyle had said all of this. Did you in that moment start distrusting Kyle? Because it almost felt like you immediately went to protect him. I thought you was going to throw him under the bus, which I wanted. No shade. I wanted so bad. But you protected him. And I was like, why is he protecting him so bad? Like, this man just messed you up.
Well, it was 2 things, right? I protected him because A, I knew him. B, we were in alliances together. And C, I wanted to show him how valuable I was by protecting him, by lying and maneuvering the truth a little bit, because there were some things I said in that conversation but I kept it pretty real with Steph about what was said, because she was like, you said that the whole house that I was going to take the first shot, which I never did say that. I never said that to Kyle. I was like, did you what? I was like, Steph isn't going to take a shot at you, man. Like because he asked me, he said, who out of these people do you think I should put up? And I was like, Steph, obviously. That's what he asked me. So I just wanted to show him how valuable I was. That's literally what it was for me. I was like, this is a way for me to flex how good I am at doing what I'm doing and being like in a public environment. That's the way I saw that conversation, not as distrust or disloyalty or dishonesty. Like this was my point in the game where I was just trusting everybody. Like I really was trusting the people that said that they were doing what they were doing. Like, and even if I had thrown Kyle under the bus, like it would not have, I don't think it would have benefited me anyway, because, it just would have looked like I was blowing him up and he could have done all of that sort of thing. So again, not that slipped into my mind at all during the conversation, because it was the heat of the moment. And in that heat of the moment, I was like, how am I gonna walk us out?
Damage control.
So that was what was in my mind at that time, which is why I protected him, because I wanted to show him that I was a good player, and also like he was in alliances with me. He was in 2 alliances.
Yeah, he was in 2
alliances. I'm gonna throw this guy under the bus. That'd be dumb.
Yeah. So at this point, after you leave the room, after y'all have the argument, basically Kyle decides, okay, that guy gotta go. So he now sets his sights on you, and he's decided that you're going to be nominated alongside Stephanie. Stephanie's going to be the pawn, you're the target. Yes. And if one of y'all come out, then he'll figure it out. Right. So did you know before getting nominated that he was nominating you? I cannot remember.
No, I did not know.
So he nominated you, and you were like, dang, like, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? Because I remember there was a really big shift, a very like huge dramatic shift. And it's nothing I've ever seen in like any other season, of how you decided to change your gameplay, because it was really, I don't know, it was just very interesting, because I've never seen anyone be able to like turn off a switch or turn on a switch, because before your nomination, you were very on, and you were on go, and you were always with everyone, and you were trying to manipulate people, you were trying to talk to people, you were making a lot of relationships. As soon as you got nominated, you was like, I'm winning this veto and I'm gonna shut up. So that basically is like,
oh
like,
my god, fam.
no, that's what it gave, for real. No, seriously.
That is on gang, yo. I straight up, that is exactly how I felt. That is so funny that you say that.
No, seriously though.
No, but honestly, yeah, that's what it was. So at that point, I was like, "Okay, let me win." I was like, "Okay, let me win the veto." Obviously, that was the only thing I was focusing on. I took a step back. I was like, "This is." I clearly did too much, and I recognize that. I'm like, "You did way too much." Take a step back. You know, I had that conversation with him. I played it pretty cool throughout the whole week. If he and this is the other thing, if he really wanted to get rid of me that week, it would have been easy. He could have backdoored me so easily. He could have spread lies about me that entire week, and I would have not known about it. He could have just made it so slow and sultry. He easily could have filleted me and got rid of me. So, you know, part of me is thankful that he gave me a chance to fight in the veto, and I said that in my speech. I don't think they did show it, but I think I don't know if they did, but because afterwards in my speech, I was like, as much as I was like, hey, you're playing chess, you thought you were playing chess, you're playing checkers. I am thankful for the fact that you gave me a chance to fight for my life, and that shouldn't go unnoticed by the rest of the house, is what I said. Because I was like, it's still, you know, he wanted, I was the target, and he made it clear, and he put me up, you know, like he didn't like try to just do it really sneakily. But again, had he done that, he would have been fine. It would have been a great game move. So bee's knees happens. I'm terrified for my life. But I honestly had so much fun during that competition, which is why I think I won it. I wasn't even stressed. I was just, you know, I cried a little bit. I was sweating. We were bleeding from the game. It was a lot, but it was so fun. Like I was enjoying myself trying to like figure out this game and like, you know, do these little balls and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and you know, I had a conversation with Josh about whether or not he'd use the veto on me, and he said yes, even though those were not his intentions. Little does he know the safety or the feeling of safety that he gave me helped propel me to win, because I felt secure and he was playing next to me. So not only was he told me that he was going to use it, he was like, he was right there next to me. And I was like, I felt like I was playing with my friend, you know, like somebody that I was like, hey, this is great. Like I'm playing with this guy that I really like. So that's why, that's why I think it was like, believe me, it was not a breeze to win that competition. It was a tough one, but I was enjoying myself the whole time, and inevitably, you know, that's how I pulled myself off the block.
Nice. Yeah. So you won that veto, you pulled yourself off, and this is when Kyle has to figure out something to create a renom. And the issue is that Kyle had already like talked to Josh in an alliance type of manner about you. So it seemed like he was going to be loyal to someone, but he decided to not do that. And he put up Josh. And at that point, really Kyle's game was kind of like really tarnished, because Josh had a very good social game in that house. Like that was bad for Elmo. So really, so really, like after that, it was done for him. But and Josh was saying, and you wanted to keep Josh too, because at that point, Josh had made you feel like that you were an ally to him.
That's right.
But from this point on, kind of throughout Gino's week, also, you kept you went to Tanisha, and I want to say Summer, and you were telling them, I'm finna work with y'all. Like I tried to work with somebody else. That did not work. I'm finna work with y'all. So what was your thought process throughout that transition and throughout talking to them about it?
So honestly, I just saw the fact that, like, you know, that 4, which was my priority, was blown up now after the vote. I didn't feel like this way during the vote. This was after the vote. I felt this way. 9-2, Marty Rogue votes, or doesn't Rogue vote, but like Marty votes the other way. I was like, this is a mishmash. It's done. I was like, there's no saving this. You know, part of me thought about trying to save it during Gino's week, but I was like, this week, like you said, I was like, let me shut up. I put up. Shut up. So, you know, I was really like, okay, like these people really never did me wrong, and they really were working with me, and I was foolish to think that otherwise. So, I made it clear that they were my priority. Summer, Josh, Herman, Tanisha. I was like, you four I care about. Everybody else's numbers to me. They don't matter. And Summer, I found out, used that information against me to Betty and Helena to say that I said that they were just numbers, which, don't get me wrong, at the time, they were. At the time, this was week 3. You know what I mean? They hadn't won competitions yet, so this was just at that point. It was like they are, and I didn't even see them as not valuable. I just saw Tanisha, like that group of people, Tanisha, Summer, Herman, Josh, as my most valuable.
Yeah,
and then the rest was whatever. I was like, I need you guys to know that you are the only people I'm going to care about for the rest of this game. Period. Like, there's no. I'm not going anywhere else. Like, I'm not going to find an alliance anywhere else. I'm not going to do anything else. You are the people that I need. And I wanted to make that clear. So I told them I was going to vote where they were going to vote. I was like, you guys have, like, I got everything. Like, you guys have, like, anything you want me to do, I'll do it. Like, that was kind of my thing. I gave up my game to them for like another week, or I wanted it to be for 2 weeks, but it unfortunately was only for that week with Gino. And, but the decision was made pretty easy with what he did. And I was talking to Summer and Tanisha about wanting to suggest Kyle. I obviously wasn't going to do that because I just didn't want to, again, put more stuff in my way. I wanted to survive. That was my week 4 was survival week for me.
Yeah.
I needed to get out of the week by not going on the block. I just needed that. So I had great conversations with Gino. I tried to help him understand that I was valuable to him, and I just won a competition, and I'm somebody that's going to be able to win competitions in the future. Came in second place in the HOH that he just won. Like, you need me, like, I'm going to be here for you. So that was my week 4 was just strictly survival.
And I kind of want to go back to, because, like, honestly, like, watching, like, like you, Tanisha, Herman, Summer, like, all of y'all, kind of Josh, all together, it was given very much, BB Can Cookout. Like, we were really feeling it. We loved it. But so, like, I know you mentioned, like, you were definitely in survival mode, but, like, did you have an end game planned out? Because I know the week prior when you were nominated, Kevin was, trying to make you feel like, I'm helping you kind of stay in the game. You know what I mean? Did you feel like, the words that he was saying was actually, meaning something to you? Or, at this point, you want to end game with Herman and Tanisha and them?
No, I wanted to end game with those people, period. Like, I didn't have, I had no, and to be quite frankly, I didn't have an end game at that point at all. Like, I wasn't thinking end game. It was week to week for me. And I kind of understood that that's the way Big Brother went. It's like really very week to week, and you got to, or it's like day to day based on what's being used and the powers and all that stuff. So I went from a macro level thinking to very micro level thinking, which was good, but it was good for the 2 weeks that it happened. And then I just kept thinking micro the whole time. I didn't think big after that, which was my issue, because when I did think big, I got in trouble. So I just stopped doing that, but I really should have expanded myself a little bit more. But no, I just started thinking really small. I didn't think end game. I wanted to work with them strictly. Kevin was kind of we were just talking, like Kevin and I, what I will say is that, as much as we talk game, him and I never essentially talked game ever the whole time I was there. Which, hey, was a detriment, right? But at the same time, it was weird because it was nice to have a friend, because he was just a friend, and it is nice to just kind of have somebody to just, like, shoot the ish and just kind of, talk. And we did have game talks. Obviously, when I was on the block, like, I had to pitch to him. Like, of course, like, Kevin was still, we talked game, but it never got past a certain point where we were making decisions together. And even though, you should be talking to everybody, it was kind of nice where I had that relationship with him. And it started in that weekly where it was like, he was kind of saying, like, hey, I kind of want to keep you around. You're a fun person. Like, I want you to stay. I was like, that's cool. Like, this is a cool guy. Let's rock with him a little bit. I like him. I like him. That's all. That's as far as that went. It never went in like, I want to work with him. I want to be in alliance. I was like, I like him. He likes me. Let's keep it at that.
I see. So after week 4, this is an interesting week. This is a really interesting week for your game, because at this point you have basically pledged your loyalty to Tanisha, and also Summer, but you were really close with Tanisha. Of those people, you were really close with her. You had a relationship with her.
Yes.
But when Jess won HOH, they basically decided that there had been a lot of rumors.
Yes.
That you said some things too. But
yeah, I did.
Throughout the season, there were a lot of rumors that kind of all came together to lead up to the fact that basically you, Tanisha, Betty, Summer, Herman, Josh, was that all? And maybe Helena. No, like, I don't know what all. There might be a commonality, but I don't know. That all of you guys were actually working together, and it wasn't just the fact that you guys were figuring something out. It was that you guys were working together, and that you guys are finna bulldoze through this game, and we have to do something about it. And that's kind of how I perceived that Jess felt at that moment.
Right.
And so they made it their mission that week to take one of you guys out, preferably Herman or Tanisha. Yeah. I think those were. I don't think you were the target that week. You were just going to be a pawn for either of them to go. From what I recall, because no, because initially
she didn't care which one went.
It didn't matter, and Herman was not necessarily the target until Kevin decided that he wanted. He said, "You know what? Well, Herman is going to be the target. How about that?" And so Kevin really wielded Jess's HOH a little bit to kind of create this divide that was already being perceived in the game. So this was a lot that was going on.
Wow. I haven't watched this part yet, so it's like this is this is information to me. Like this is interesting.
Yeah, this was kind of the turning point. No, this was the turning point of the game. This was a very big week because it really divided the house in the way that Kevin kind of wanted it to be. This is also the week that Kevin linked up with Josh and Helena officially to make them kind of the center of the house. So the idea is that Josh is going to work with you guys. Kevin is going to work with the other guys, and then Helena's gonna also be there. No shade. And then basically I'm sorry. Basically, how are you feeling throughout this week? Because all of this is going on. You don't necessarily know about it, but you're nominated the entire week. You're nominated at first. Herman wins veto, and then it's like, ooh, so how are you feeling? Just
to be quite frank, it was more survival. It was back on survival mode. Like I was just really, really trying to figure out what to do. And I'm happy Herman won that veto. I really, obviously was trying to win that veto. I would have loved if Josh had won it. It's weird because Josh kept on saying that he purposefully was losing these.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I still haven't asked him about. Funnily enough, I gotta shoot him a text. Because he said that that's what he was doing. But he, had he won, based on what you're saying, maybe he wouldn't have even. No, he would have had to use. He would have had to use the
it would have been a hard decision.
It would have been
Josh at this point was playing with the people in the middle, Jess, Kevin and Helena. So he would have to portray them to use the veto.
Well, yeah, a little bit. Well, my thinking now is that because he would have inevitably because he had that final two with Herman if he decides to save me, because if he saves me, then Herman stays the target, right? And no matter who else goes up, if it's Tanisha or whoever.
Exactly.
And if Kevin wanted that, right, would it have made sense for it to use it on me? I don't know. That's very interesting. It would have been a very, very difficult decision for Josh to use it, but Herman pulled himself off the block. So then I partially want to go have a conversation with Jess, but I'm like, no, I can't do this. And this is the reason why as well. I had been targeting Jess from the beginning of the game, and I will say that openly. And Jess knew that. That's why they put me up. Jess knew that. Jess was like, everybody's saying that you said my name. I'm like, obviously, I was like, I did. I did. And I said this to Jess when we had our conversation. I was like, yes, I was saying your name in week 1 and 2. But fraudulently, I was like, what I said was, no, in week 3 and 4, I've been saying that you're a good player. I haven't been saying you're a target. I said you were a target in week 1 and 2. Don't get me wrong. I did say, I told her I'm going to put you up. I'm not going to lie about that. I said that. But last couple weeks, I've been changing my narrative, Jess.
Come on. Keep up.
Same thing, which obviously it wasn't. Jess was a gamer right from the get-go. I knew they knew Big Brother. I knew they were a super fan. I knew they were here to play. They won the veto on the first week. I called it like I saw it. I knew they were a strong player. Like, that's where, if anything, I feel happy. I feel happy that I called out somebody that I knew was going to be good. Like, they were a good Big Brother player. Like, you saw how hard that they fought in their veto as well. Against in the week before against Marty. Like, we saw, like, so they are a competitor. regardless. So, you know, they knew I was saying their name a lot, which I was, and that's why it made sense to put me up. We then wanted to extend an arm of loyalty. So we said to Jess, we said, listen, I didn't have this conversation because, again, I didn't feel like Jess was going to listen to me. And after they had manipulated what I had said a little bit, I was like, I can't be, I was like, I'm not even going to have a conversation with you in private anymore. Like, I don't trust that, you know, because it went, you know, a little too far one way. And again, this is Big Brother. It's a game. I'm not saying that what they did was wrong. Like, I get it. You got to manipulate. You got to lie a little bit. If you want to lie, lie. You know, Kevin was lying all the time. You know, who cares? I don't care about that at all. But like in the game, like in that moment, I was like, I don't trust having private conversations with you. Like I needed to have Summer sit with me. I can't do that. Like I can't sit. And so Herman tried to tell Jess, look, don't put up Tanisha and we will work with you. Me, Herman. Josh, you already working with, like, because, you know, I think they had a good allyship between the both of them. You're going to have Tanisha. You're going to have Summer. You're going to have, we will work with you. Like, we're telling you this. And they were like, I don't know. Again, Kevin is in the picture now, talking to them, right? Who's in a good alliance with Jess, which is what made them make the decision that they wanted, or that they thought that they wanted, at least at the time. Because had they listened to us, they would have been safe another week. After that, after I won the bowling safety competition, because if they had stuck to their word, then I would have almost had no choice to do that than to save them. If they had saved me by putting up anybody else but Tanisha, I would have been loyal to my word and I would have saved Jess after I won that bowling competition. I would have said their name first. People might not believe me. People might think that I'm just, you know, I'm blowing smoke, but genuinely, I would have saved Jess immediately had they.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Right. Thank God. Thank God.
I fear we must have gotten the.
We dodged the bullet.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. I dodged 2 bullets that week.
Yeah.
So it was scary, man. It was scary, and you know, it sucked to be next to somebody that I really cared about on the block that whole week. But you know, it was all love, and you know, I never said Tanisha's name during my pitch. You know, and that was those were rumors that were being spread as well, which you know, bothered me again. I couldn't escape the rumors. And that was my number one problem. I just couldn't escape it from that week of week 3. And I genuinely was just sitting there and just trying to tell people, I'm like, listen, I've been so honest with all of you. I've told all of you how I feel. I've made it very clear what my priority is. Like even after her mom left, and I'm like, Josh, you are my number one person right now. I have no one else in this house to work with. Like, please, like come on, let's work together.
Right. Yeah. No, but we saw it. We did. Like, we would see you go to them and be like, y'all, let's do something. Like, what are we doing? But I wanted to ask you specifically, like, you know, how did you, you know, foster that relationship with Tanisha? Because y'all seem really, really close. You know, you did break down a little bit when she did get evicted. Like, how did you guys form this relationship together?
You mean in the house?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, she's just like, I think Tanisha's one of the realest people out there, man. Like, she's real. Like, you know, I don't think it gets more real than a single mother, to be quite frank with you. Like, you know, she deals with a lot of hardships that I'm sure many of us can't, you know, resonate with. And she's a very strong person, and she's also like hilarious. And because she's she is who she is, and she's in that environment, I think she's like, she's at the point in life which we all like to get to, hopefully. Not hopefully. A lot of people like to get to this point in their life when they're like 60, 70, about like, I don't care about what anybody thinks about me anymore. I'm just going to be me, which we all want to get there at some point. But Tanisha, I think, has already gotten there.
Yeah.
She knows who she is as a person. She obviously still figuring things out, but she's just always so genuinely, authentically herself, and is so serious and is so real. And she has the most honest smile. And everything about her as a person is just, it's indescribable how she can make you feel. She's number one. She's just the number one person to you know, talk to about life and you know, be honest with. And this is how I felt in the game, right? Like, I really I just like talking to her, and she would be funny, and she would like tell me things, and it was so fun and adorable, and I just loved spending time with her. So we just fostered that relationship because I resonated with the fact that she just was who she was and was real. And not that, and again, outside of the realness of the game and lying about stuff, everybody was pretty real and genuine to themselves to a degree. But Tanisha was like one of the realest. So, and she deserves credit for that, which is why I think that's why her and I connected, because outside of a lot of other people, we were the only ones that were like very honest about like what was going on in our lives. You know, Herman wasn't really a finance guy.
Yeah.
Alex wasn't really a doctor. Kevin wasn't really married. Like everyone had me and Tanisha didn't have a thing. We were just so honest about it. And I think that's why we really felt that way about each other.
And based off of that, I kind of have a question, because I have this theory that like with Big Brother, the social game can't really be seen by the audience like that. Like the way people make you feel is not like something that's visible. So there's like at this point, the reason Tanisha is targeted is because they say she's the center of the side. She's the heart of that side. How like valid is that? When you're in that house, like, did you also feel like she was holding y'all together? Because we saw the events that occurred after she left, it kind of was like a blow. So
yeah,
how accurate do you feel like that is?
You know, I didn't feel like that at the time. And Kevin told me this after Tanisha left, or Gino did. Gino said this to me after Tanisha left, and I didn't feel like that way at all. But after Tanisha left, that was the truth. You know, Tanisha was really the glue. And I genuinely didn't see it that way. I did not see her as the connector between all of us, but she was.
We didn't either. I will say we didn't either. But like you said, like she was like, not just in the fact that, you know, kind of the evictions didn't go the way we wanted, but also just the fact that you guys did not seem as cohesive. It was a lot of mistrust after Tanisha left. Like Summer was like, man, Herman, I don't even know. Betty, I don't even know. Like it was a lot of mistrust after that, which was very interesting, because it was like something that I guess they could see, but I didn't even see it, and you didn't even see it, and we didn't even see it. But hey, she ate that up for her.
Yeah, exactly. She did. And you know, it was a matter of, I think a lot of people, it wasn't even a lot of people, it was just like the 5 people that were voting for me were like, felt that Tanisha was really powerful and had a lot of sway, and she did. And it didn't feel that way because, you know, she never won like power or an HOH or something like that. But, you know, had she done that, I think that would have been very clear. I think Big Brother fans, people watching, us in the house would have been like, wow, Tanisha wields a lot of power. And I don't know if she felt that she did wield a lot of power, but she did. And we felt that afterwards. It was very clear after she left.
So after she does go, there's a double eviction, but it's a chain of safety double eviction. So
it's so random for this.
we were stressed.
Yeah.
Moose. The way y'all wasn't winning no HOHs, we was like,
it's over. It's over.
Trust me.
You saved the day, sir. Like, like when we saw that you had won the safety, I was like, oh,
I almost cried.
The only thing I was worried about was someone picking Josh and Josh not doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Not doing what the fuck he was supposed to do.
Because I was like, if Josh picked Kevin and not Betty, it's going to be a problem.
It was going to be a problem. But hey, the problem came later. No shame. I'm joking. But so you win the chain of safety. Yeah. And you pick Herman. You pick Herman.
And then Herman chose Josh. And that's when we got scared.
And that's when it was scared.
That's when you guys got instead of jumping a little bit, you're like,
wait for the dude.
But he did what he needed to do.
Exactly.
And he picked Betty, and then he picked Summer, and then, you know, everybody else wasn't picked. No shade.
Yeah.
After Summer got picked, I didn't care who was going on.
I feel you. Honestly, like that pick was it was a very stressful 3 minutes for me to decide, because that's kind of what I had to, like, when I knew what it was, when I knew what my choice was. So as soon as Arissa said, you know, you guys are gonna pick people, I was like, okay, shoot, like, how am I gonna do this? So initially, okay, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the replay, but I was looking at Kevin because I was like, let me save someone. The reason why, this is the reason why. I was like, let me save. I need to deviate from everybody I know. That's what I felt. I was like, I need to deviate from everyone I know. I was like, and you know, I know Kevin's a smart guy. So I'm like looking at Kevin. I'm like, yo, Kevin, say Herman. So I'm trying to get him to say Herman's name. I'm like, Kevin, say Herman. He's like, what? I'm like, Herman. Like he's sitting next to you. I'm like, Herman. And he was like, what? I was like, never mind.
Never mind. He's playing too much.
Yeah. I was like, this is too much. Because the thing is, knowing Kev, I genuinely feel like had he heard what I was saying, he would have done it, because for two reasons. One, had he not, I would have blown up his spot right there. I mean, like, I told you to say Herman.
Yeah.
I've been like, and if you're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, I would have blew him up right there. I've been like, yo, I told you to say Herman's name. Like, what are you doing? So, and knowing Kevin in the way that he's scheming, he would have loved to do that because then he wouldn't have had to show his alliances to anybody, right? I think he would have liked to have not done what he had to do, which was save Marty, which inevitably, I agree. Him saving Marty was saving Helena, and that was right. It was very, very good. Regardless for Kevin, because it didn't really expose too much of his game. But I really was like, if I say this guy's name, it'll be such an oddball. And if he says Herman, then it doesn't even matter. But I was like, you know what? On all that, Herman's looking at me. I'm like, hey, let me save this guy because I know that if he's, he'll know now for the rest of the game that I'm his guy. This is going to be. And I knew Herman, I was going to pick Josh first because I knew Josh would have saved Herman in reality, because I think Josh, as chaotic as y'all felt and what he was going to do, he would recognize that it would have made sense for him and it wouldn't have been that weird for him to say Herman's name. Okay. So I was like, let me say Herman. Herman will say Josh. Josh will say one of either Betty or Summer. If he says Summer first, that's where I'm going to be nervous because if he had said Summer first, I don't know if Summer would have saved Betty, and I wanted Betty to be safe. So I feel like, right? So I was lucky that he said Betty's name because had it been Summer, Summer might have been like Kevin or Gino or something like that, right? So Josh says Betty, Betty says Summer. And in my head, I didn't know. I had a feeling that Summer was going to say Kevin because they were like this. Yeah. Believe it or not. But like in the house, like Summer and Kevin were hanging out like a decent amount and they had such a good relationship and they were like always laughing all the time. And they were friends. They really were friends. So I was like, I'm sure Summer is going to want to save Kevin here. So that's where I was at. I was like, okay, Summer's probably going to save Kevin. Whatever happens. I'm like, I can't think that deeply into it because I'm like, then if Kevin picks somebody, my two goals were, I need to save my people that I was rocking with, and I need Jess to be left over. Those are my two goals of my safety because Jess came for me, right? Like that's what it was. Like, this is going to be tit for tat. With Kyle, I didn't want it to be that way. I was like, Kyle, if I had one HOH, for example, that next week, I really would have given Kyle a chance and been like, hey, man, like, let's talk about this. But with this, it was not that it was personal, but I'm like, hey, you came for me. You came for Herman. You got rid of Tanisha. No, I need you. I need you out. I need you out now. So that's why I was like hoping that Jess was going to be the one that was left over. And surely that's what happened. And it was honestly a blessing. It was a blessing that I got to win that safety. And that's what they said, bro. The Moose curse. That's why you don't go
exactly.
You go home in dramatic fashion every time.
I also had a specific question about that. Like, if that was a normal double eviction HOH and you had one HOH, who would you have like nominated though? Like,
okay, so are you saying if I had it for the week or if it was just there?
Yeah, it was a regular double, so it was still in that night, but it was HOH and veto instead of safety and veto.
Okay, right. So I would have. Okay, so again, this is me not knowing much about Big Brother. I would have had to nominate two people, and they would have played a veto, right?
Yeah,
I would have had to renom somebody afterwards.
Yeah,
so had it been normal, it would have been Jess and Helena. Most likely, it would have been Jess.
Got the girl.
Because you would have ended that not nominated us real
quick. So okay, so it would have been Jess and Helena. If Jess stays on the block, Jess goes home. Regardless, I think a lot of people would have inevitably wanted that. Kevin and Josh probably would have worked hard to maybe make Betty flip. To flip towards saving Helena.
They would have saved Helena.
They would save Helena.
Helena
Jess would have been out.
That's what you know.
Yeah.
If Jess came off of the block, that's where things get a little sticky icky. I don't know what I would have done. I feel like in my heart of hearts, I probably would have put up Kevin. Because
that would have been nasty.
I know.
But I don't know, right? I don't know because it would have been the conversations on the bench, right? Like I would have been talking to people. I've been like, oh, hey, yo, which one of y'all is going up? Like,
right.
That's what I would have been.
Volunteer.
Like, right? I really would have had like been talking to people. Like I would have been talking to people while they were playing. I'd be like, hey, yo, if you throw this, like if I like for somebody, I've been like, hey, if you throw this right now, like I won't put you up. I promise. Like things like that. Like it would have really depended. So it probably would have been Kevin. And then whoever went home, I would have really not minded. I really wouldn't have cared because obviously I had value in Gino and Jason. I wanted to work with them. And I liked Marty because Marty and I were working on a relationship. And, I really wanted to just, and I promised him safety as well. I promised Marty safety if he didn't vote for me. So it probably would have been Kevin and Helena if it was a double. And I overpromised a lot of safety that week, but had it been what it was, I would have had my lies would have came through, and I inevitably would have had to cut some ties, which I wouldn't have been afraid to do. I really did want to win power anyway and just try to do something. So it was nice to get a little bit of power in a weird way. So that's probably what I would have done if it was a regular.
Interesting.
Yeah. And like you said, you had been working on your relationship with Marty since you were nominated against Tanisha. And so he wins the next HOH after this. And he is really focused on Betty and Josh. He's nominated them already multiple times, whatever. He really wanted to nominate them.
Yes.
So you were essentially not going to be nominated this week. You were kind of safe with Marty in terms of he has other people to nominate. That's it. But
no, actually, not really. So what happened was, I don't know if they showed this. I think somebody said that they did, but basically, so Marty wins HOH, and he's like, I promise I'm not going to put you up. I was like, okay, cool, whatever, no doubt. The day before, I think, nominations, I think Kevin was trying to convince him to put me up. It was either Kevin or Helena. It was one of them two. Was trying to convince him to put me up because I said to him, I promised him that he could use. I said to people they could use me as a pawn if they won HOH the next week. Marty was one of those people. He said he wasn't interested in that. He said he just wanted safety for 2 weeks, or he said he wanted safety for a week. But I was like, cool, fine. You don't want to put me up as a pawn? That's great. So then he starts having conversations with me about, I want to put you up as a pawn next to Josh. And I was like, no. I was like, I'm not going through this again, man. I was like, I just came off of the block. Please, Marty. I'm like, here's your worst case scenario. This is what I was trying to explain to him, right? And this is how I got out of it. I was like, Marty, this is your worst case scenario. You put me up next to the block against Josh. Josh wins power veto. He pulls himself off. Somebody like Summer wins power veto and pulls Josh off of the block. Who are you going to nominate? Betty? Sure, that's great. You really think I'm going to Betty will win the vote against me. I can look, I can try my damnest. I will, and I will campaign, but Betty will stay over me. And do you want that? That's what I was trying to explain to him. I'm like, do you want Betty? I was like, because what's going to happen is Betty and Josh and Summer are going to stay, and I won't. And you're going to lose me now. And I really want to work with you. So this is your worst case scenario. I'm just letting you know that. So you can put me up as a pawn. Don't get me wrong, but I will go home this week. If I don't win power veto, I'm going home. Doesn't matter who else wins it. There's no chance of saving me. And he and he took to that and was like, oh, damn, And I had to have three. I had to have 2 or 3. No, I didn't have 3. I had 2 conversations with him to make sure that he wasn't going to put me up. So it was going to be me and Josh initially. That was the initial plan Marty wanted, because people were in his ear about it. And I was like, please, Marty, don't do this. And then, he got into his head about the little secret that had went on with trying to flip Gino out. So he was really adamant that it was Betty and Josh, because he couldn't really remember. It was very chaotic, right? Everything that was happening. So he didn't really remember who said what or what was done. So he just felt that it was Betty and Josh. And, I knew it wasn't Betty. I knew it wasn't Betty for sure, because Betty is, you can kind of read it on her face a little bit, but she's a straight shooter, so Betty's telling you the truth. She's telling you the truth. So I could kind of tell that she was telling the truth, but, part of me was like, I don't know, Marty, it might've been her. I don't know. I never said it was her. I didn't, but I was like, hey man, if that's how you feel, just me. I was like, it wasn't me that did it. And that's what we gotta understand here. And at that point, again, I was loyal to these people, but I was just so desperate to stay alive. It was like I was drowning every week. Exactly. People that I was working with just could never win power. It was just so frustrating. So I was like, I just kept on treading for water. I was just trying to say anything to just stay off the block. Just for 1 week of there wasn't a single week almost where I was like, the only week I felt safe was the first week, because I actually won my own safety.
Yeah.
But every other week it was like, oh, maybe going up. You're going up. Maybe going up. You're going up. The Gino week I felt pretty safe too, but even then it was like literally look at me. I'm holding my breath. It was just I just couldn't catch a freaking break about people trying to come after me.
Yeah.
And I get it, again, it's the game, right? And people saw me as a strong player, but I thankfully talked. So in a way, not that I influenced his decision at all, but in a way I kind of influenced him to get him to not put me up at least and put up Josh and Betty. So he wasn't really going to fully target them through and through. Like he was trying to target Josh actually.
Yeah, and you're right, because I recall Kevin, because at this point Kevin had wielded a lot of control, and I remember he felt like you or Herman were the people he would rather go that week, because he definitely didn't want Josh to go, and he felt like he could pull in Betty, so he did want either you or Herman to go.
Yeah,
which ended up happening. But so there was a push before nominations to get one of you up as a pawn. So I do recall that happening. So Marty ends up just nominating Betty and Josh, like you said, and then this is the week Kevin wins veto, and Kevin, smart ass, basically he convinces everyone that they're convincing him to veto Josh, which was not the case. He was just going to veto Josh because he had Josh on lock. So Josh gets vetoed by Kevin. And this is when, because Marty had promised you and Herman that he would not nominate you guys this week. The only option was Summer safe this week?
No.
Not this week.
That was the week after, or 2 weeks after.
So it was looking like Summer might be the renom, but there was a conversation that Marty had with Kevin, and he also had it with Helena, I want to say, to get Herman nominated instead.
Exactly. And Marty said to us he wasn't going to put up Herman at all. Kevin comes and talks to him. He says, "Go ahead."
Yeah.
Helena comes and talks to him. He says, "Go ahead and go make your bet. I don't want to have this conversation." Kevin comes to talk to him again, and he goes, "Maybe." Helena comes to talk to him again. He goes, "You know what? Screw it. Let's do it."
Yeah, exactly.
He really wasn't going to put up Herman.
Yeah, we remember that. We do. Yeah.
Yeah, but then what did you say?
I was like, we remember that. It was bad. It was so bad. It was so stressful.
Poor guy got manipulated. He just so I just really and the issue was that I also told him I was going to vote wherever he wanted me to vote. Which I did. I didn't want to. I was trying to concoct a plan to save Herman, and it almost happened. But then they had a 5 that they were working with Gino, Jason, and Marty and stuff. So regardless of what I was trying to do, it wouldn't have mattered. And I wasn't gonna throw Herman understood that throwing a vote for him would have done nothing to help me. And I was trying to win the game at that point. So he and I know he knew that, and we obviously talked about it afterwards, but. Knowing the way things went, it was just kind of one of those things that I was like, Josh was never giving me an answer. Nobody was giving me an answer about what they were doing. And I was like, can you guys just tell me where you're going to vote? Like, I'm voting.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to vote for Herman. You know what I'm saying? So, and I told that to Betty too. And I think Betty thought that I was being not disingenuous necessarily, but I said to her that I was like, you have a 30 to 40% chance of me voting for you, which is pretty good. And she was like 30 to 4%. That's nothing. That's like a fail on a test. Betty, I was like, no, I'm being serious. You have a chance. You have a chance if you pitch me. And she's like, I don't want to pitch you. I want you to vote for Herman. Because I said the same thing to Betty the week before. Was it the week before? Yeah, I said the same thing to Betty the week before. Because I was like, I did injustice to you this week. I said your name. I'm not going to sit here and act like I can earn your vote. It's going to be a waste of time for both of us. So vote for Summer. You guys are also, vote for Tanisha. You guys are close as well. I get it. You know what I mean? You're somebody. It's I get it. So I knew her and Summer were lost during my week. So that's why during my campaign, it all started with Marty. Marty came up to me and said, look, Moose, Moose, she lied to me about something, and I don't trust her, but you have my vote this week.
Why do you sound just like him?
No, literally.
But trust me, you spend enough time with people in the house, you get to know how they sound,
Yeah.
So he was like, you have my vote. He's like, as long as nobody finds out you have my vote, you have my vote. So I was like, okay, cool. The vote is 2-1 right now. I'm like, I have one vote. This is great. Who do I tackle next? Jason, Gino. Jason, Gino. I talked to them together. I talked to them individually. I'm like, yo, here's the business. Spread it like peanut butter and jelly. I need your help. What's good? I turned them up. I fired them up. I was like, let's get it going. I'm here for you guys. Let's work together. I'm gonna be who do you want to be sitting next to near the end? You two want to work together. You guys want to be together in the final 2. That's cool. I'll help you guys get there. Let's do this. I'm with Jace is fired up. I talked to Gino. He's feeling real cool, calm, and casual because the guy can't get excited. Jason, Gino are on board. Bang, I got 3 votes. I'm trying to convince Herman. He's not listening. Josh won't listen to me. I'm really grinding my gears with Helena, working. Hey, every day, what's going on? How you feeling? I don't want to pressure you. And she's like, this is a very tough moral decision. I'm like, I totally get it. Believe me, I understand. Make the best decision for yourself. I promise you, I will benefit you, like, going down the road. Like, it was just incessant. And then the last vote was Kevin. And Kevin was voting for me the whole time.
Yeah. Because it was his plan, Loki.
Exactly. It was his plan. Yeah. So Kevin made me feel good. And he even helped me with my pitch, like I would tell him, I was like, hey man, I'm going to tell people that I'm throwing HOH next week. He's like, do not do that. Everybody will think you're lying.
Yeah.
You are too competitive, Moose. Don't do that. I was like, okay, cool. Sure. So he was helping me with my pitch, believe it or not. And again, so like all of that stuff being said, sliding into that week 6, it was like there was just so much I had like done or felt like I had done that. And it's also because neither Herman or Josh voted for me, that I was like, you know what, man, at the end of the day, am I really going to risk my whole game to keep this guy around? Like it was a lot. And I did risk my game. I did risk my game by doing that because I made a plan with Jason Gino that they inevitably told Marty and all those other people.
Yeah.
So I did risk my game by doing that, but I could have gone a step further even. I really could have. Like I could have done more, but I got to a point where I was like, I'm at this wall, and I'm like, if I punch through this wall, I might come out with a broken hand, and I don't want to do it right now. So let me, you know what, the house is going this way. I'm just going to do what the house wants right now and try to, again, survive another week, because literally I was almost on that block this week as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It sucks because it always felt from the outside looking in. I know me and Farrell spoke about it a lot. Like if you guys, you guys just never had that ability to kind of have that safety week where you guys just solidified something and just ran with it. And it's like, it just sucks because it's like, they just kept with it for no reason.
Literally.
It was that. And look, Summer's game plan was that she didn't want to win competitions, right? Yeah. So we can't blame her for that. Betty really figured it out late in the game, like she was struggling at the start and then she really started to figure out late in the game. And it sucked. It happened while I was gone. I not that I won when I needed to, but I won the one power veto when I needed to, and I got a, which was nice. Herman won a veto when he needed to, and won an HOH, right? Which not that it secured safety for us in week 1, but it still did secure safety for us in week 1, right? So there is just so many. It did suck because it's just like Josh never won power when we wanted him to. He was already working with other people,
and he was throwing too, low key.
He was doing everything else. He was doing everything else.
So that's the thing. If Josh and Summer are both throwing, and then Betty didn't pick it up to the end, so it's just you and Herman having to win everything.
Me, Herman, and Tanisha are like rocking as much and it's just so. It was just so difficult. So and that was the problem, right? I think that's just what it was, is that we just, I wish Herman and I had just done this from the start and really worked together, but regardless, it was just damn man, we're working with all these people that don't want to win comps, which again, bad thing. It was their strategy, but it's holy hell, man, I just wanted to win one freaking HOH. That's all I wanted. I wanted one HOH. I just wanted to call people out in my room. I just wanted to chew people out and be like, you, but I couldn't. So, but it was still, it was, we rock with who we rock with because, we felt comfortable with that group, and that was just kind of what it was. And then, we slid into week 7, with more uncertainty.
And that's when Gino won again.
Yeah, it's
Marty and Gino was just winning, boy.
Tell me how I align with these two guys. Tell me how I align with the two dudes that were winning every comp, and Kyle messed it up for me.
Literally,
I had the two. They were the two guys I wanted. It was them. Then it was them, Josh, Hermontini,
everybody who was winning comps. That's the guy.
I had these dudes that were winning comps on my side, and it just didn't work out that way. But yeah, this is when Gino won, and then the buzzkill thing happened. Which very
didn't happen.
Yeah, it was very frustrating for me as well because I really felt like I was going to do well on that. God, who knows if I would have won? But I've got a really good reaction time, just playing sports growing up and stuff like that. So I really felt like I was going to do well. And it would have been nice it would have been nice to go through with that comp, but then it's like, here we are back to trivia. And it's like,
Yeah.
my trivia wasn't great. I wasn't studying that much. I was going off of my memory. You know, with that one, I wouldn't have won anyway. There were two questions that I knew I could have got right, which I like just doubted myself for some reason, but I wouldn't have won anyway. So it's like, we really had this other comp that I was ready to grind for 3, 4, 7 hours and stand there, hit this button. But you know, it's like back to trivia, which is like
it didn't even make sense. How do you go from buzzkill to trivia? That's what pissed me off. It's like Gino obviously is great at trivia, so like, why are y'all doing this?
Well, it's because it was like a surefire thing, you know, like we knew that it was going to work. So I get why they did that, but so you know, at that point for me, I didn't have enough time to. Although Gino and I had a Wendy's date, I didn't have enough time the next day to try to tell Gino not to put me up and to put up someone else. He said he had a ceasefire with Josh and that he would have put me up anyway, no matter what I would have said. But I know me, and I know I probably would have been able to convince him and been like, Gino, Josh had a final 2 with Herman. There's nothing that there's nothing that he says that you can trust, man. He was so eager to vote him out last week. Like, he's not your guy, man. I'm gonna work with you. Like, I'm you know, you saved me, bro. You and Jay saved me. Like, why on earth would I not credit my whole game to you, man? Like, Josh, like, I don't care about these other people now, because not that I didn't care about anybody, but at that point I was just playing for me. I had I was just playing for myself. So I'm like, I know I could have sat down and been like, Gino, like, because he's like, I'm gonna put you up. I've been like, you don't want to put up Josh? Like, why not Josh?
So, well, at that point, the previous week when Betty stayed, Betty made an alliance with Gino and JL. With Josh, and that was kind of Gino's main reason, is that this alliance that wasn't necessarily solid, but that's kind of the excuse that he had, was that because they had that alliance.
Exactly. And the other thing for me is that I, you know, again, this is like, I mean, just seeing it as big brother, I'm like, you know what? Screw all this. I'll win a veto. I was like, yeah, put me up. That's really how I felt at that point. Like, Gino was like, hey, man, like, we want to execute this plan to backdoor Marty, but I have to put you up. I was like, you know what? You know who I trust to win this veto? Me. So I'm going to go win the veto. Like, that's how I felt, right? And in the moment, I was like, if you want to put me up, I was like, if I win a second veto, this is going to solidify me if I make it to final 2 to win. That was the other thing, too. I knew that there was going to be more comps involved, but I was like, if I win this veto and I put myself off for the second time and I've won a vote essentially, and I won that safety comp, I would have been like, this is solidifying me as the winner if I survive all, right? That was the other thing too. I was like, let me win this veto. I literally will secure myself a victory if I'm in final 2 on this show. And screw it. Like, I'm here to play. I'm here to compete. I'm not here to sit on the sidelines and watch everybody, like, watch people. I'm down to play. If there's anybody else, I'll play. You know, that's how I felt. So that's why it didn't really bother me that much. And you know, obviously the plan didn't go as we would have liked it to. I wish I just had a little bit more patience on that tooth puzzle, but you know, it was what it was, and more scheming was involved with Helena and that power of veto.
Yes, because that's crazy. Because the goal was never for you to go that week. The goal was the original goal was for Marty to get backdoored, but the only people who didn't know were Kevin, Helena, and Marty initially. And then when Helena won veto, they needed to figure out how to get her to use it. But Helena's so smart. Helena's really smart. Kevin's also really smart. So, girl, that was not gonna happen.
It was just
it was bad.
The thing is, though, is that Gino didn't tell her to use it. Like, he wasn't convinced.
Exactly.
He did that
basically, because Gino, no shade to Gino. Like, you know, he fine, whatever. But Gino was not, like, you know, he wasn't the type of player to you know, be forward about a plan. So when Helena did win, he was just kind of like, well, I guess it's not going to happen. But, and then JC Lynn won.
Got the secret veto.
The secret veto.
Like, can we make this happen?
And then JC Lynn was like, you know, I'm just not going to put the pressure on Gino. Girl, we were playing Big Brother.
Come on. We were so mad that week. We were so mad that week.
No, I finally had stuck my stupid hand in that flower pot. Like,
dude, Marty's the one who got Gino out. Like, ooh, that was bad.
Let's be honest. The secret veto needed to be founded by you or Summer. So I don't know why JC Lynn found it.
I know we were being filled. And you know what? It's so funny. We called it the day of paranoia because I was like, there's something happening. That's what I said. I was like, there's something happening today. There has to be something going down. And then the thing came, and then it switched tables, and like, but the thing is, they had been doing that stuff all year. There was like, all year, all during the game. It was just stuff was being put in random places. Things were being, but the thing is, Marty was taking away all these things. That's what it was. If Marty had not been taking away all this stuff and like changing things and like taking pillows and stealing things,
I
would have been more inclined to be more interested in the plot because I was like, oh, they're adding stuff and moving stuff all the time. Like it doesn't even matter, right? Like they just make us remember things. It's like, what was the table? Did it start on the left? When did the glass tables come in? On what day? What did the flower pot move? So that's why I was like, whatever. But it was stuck to this table, which is why I was like, you know, like it was you couldn't move it. So which everything else in the house you could move. So I just wish I just like, you know, stuck my stupid hand in and pulled out that phone number. I just wonder what it would have been if I had pulled it out in front of people. You know, like,
right?
You know?
In front of somebody.
I would have had to come up with a big lie. But yeah, I know I did like, yeah, I think that secret power was meant for me in summer to win, just to kind of and the thing is, if Marty had won it, I feel like he would have used it because I think he would have, he's a very emotional person. And I know if he heard my speech, I thought it was Marty, obviously, as you guys know, but I you know, had Marty heard my speech, obviously thinking about it now, I know he would have been like, you know, like, fuck it, I love Big Brother.
It's not impossible. That's
he would have been like, I love this game. Like, he's like, I can't win this secret and not use it. You know, like I know he would have been like, let's just do it. You know, but I just wish I had looked everybody in the eyes because I looked at a few people and Betty's like, oh, it's not me. I'm like, I know it's not you, Betty. Like, come on. Josh is like, no, like I don't have it, and I'm like, I feel like Josh would have saved Summer. You know, it's like Jason, Gino are obviously in on this plan, so if they had it, they would have known. So it has to be Kevin or these people. But I wish I just looked at Jace because if Jace looked up at me, I would have known immediately. I would have looked at him and like,
use it.
Right? No, literally.
Yeah. So I just wish I wish I just stuck my hand in that little pot and, you know, kept her going. But maybe if I'd watched more Big Brother, maybe I would have been more keen to think about a secret power being found. I just wasn't on that wave that week. It was just like, again, oh my God, yet again. You know, I wasn't thinking about secret powers and stuff.
Yeah. So unfortunately, by the end of that week, it was you and Summer, and Summer's a powerhouse social player, so that was bad for you already.
Yeah.
Because you were, what I noticed throughout the season is that you were very good at campaigning. You were a very good campaigner. So whenever you were nominated, you always were able to know exactly who you needed to talk to, exactly what you needed to say. Like even back when with the Tanisha week, you knew the 5 votes you needed immediately. And I remember as a viewer, I was like, oh, he's right. Like those are the 5 people who would vote for him if he had to stay. And even this week, you did very good campaigning, but babe, Summer had it.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that I would have I would just wish I worked on. Kevin was the only guy I wish I worked on more. You know, I really would have just had to grind my axe with him, and I just saw him as like a 50-50, and it was like I needed to get the sure thing in Betty, and because I knew Betty and Josh were going to do the same thing essentially, or Betty was going to do what Josh did, and you know, she said that was true to a degree, but she still like was open, and which is why, you know, I talked to her, but she like told me that she felt I was a very honest player and, you know, that she wanted me there and she wanted me to win, you know, to take out Marty. And I was like, yeah, like, let's do that. And, you know, I opened up my game to Helena as well and really, really gave her the keys. I was like, yo, you got the keys to my game right now. Like you can drive the car. Like you got me. Like Helena would have had me. You know, it would have been fine. And I'm like, you guys can put me up as pawns for the rest of this game. Like you guys can put me up every week. You know, you guys could backdoor me. It won't even matter at this point what happens to me. But just use me as a weapon. Use me as somebody that's going to like be able to benefit you in the future. And sure enough, had Marty won that week, I would have gone up again. Like it would have been fine. It would have been cool. You know, but again, it's just one of those things that I wish I'd worked on Kevin a little bit more. I wish I convinced Gino to put up Josh instead of me. And those were kind of where my game ended, I'd say. Like, I could have done stuff in week 4 or 5 to solidify myself, but it all comes down week to week. And had that week I just really worked a little bit harder on doing that, then maybe I would have survived. But alas, my journey to the jury was
and then so, you know, getting out of the game, you know, and the placement you did and seeing it from your perspective. So how did you see the game, and like who did you think that you wanted to win or who would potentially get to the end at that point?
You know, I just saw it as at that point, I think a lot of good social players were left, and I really wanted Marty to win. I had some pretty deep personal conversations with him. You know, there's a lot of stuff that he's like been through in his life, and you know, there's some that you know, the stuff that I can't share obviously, but he'd been winning comps. You know, he was playing for his family. He was such a loving person. Yes, he wouldn't shut up about his wife, and we were annoyed by it. But you know, in reality, like he's like a simple man from a little farm town, and he was 43 years old, winning competitions, like, you know, hanging on the wall for dear life. Like, are you kidding me? The guy's ancient. You know, I'm surprised he didn't
oh my god,
batter into dust while he was holding on that thing. But so I just respected him. I respected what he was doing a lot in the sense that he was winning. And at that point, I very much was keen on people that were there to compete. And Marty was there to compete, you know, more than people that I was working with, you know. And that's what bothered me. I was like, I was working with these people, and, you know, they weren't doing anything, yet Marty was out here hustling. So I was like, I really wanted him to win. You know, the money would have been great for his family. You know, I know the financial stuff that he'd been dealing with and stuff like that. So that was kind of where I was at that point. You know, again, I like Gino's game. I wanted somebody to represent the season that was, you know, I'm sure, and as I'm sure most seasons are, you want somebody to represent the season, right? Like,
Exactly.
At a certain point, I stopped caring about that. I just wanted the right person to win. Like, I wasn't like, ooh, like this person, you know, they reflect Big Brother 10.
Yeah.
No, they don't. Like, they don't reflect to the win. Like, the winner doesn't necessarily reflect what happened in the season. Like, sure, I'm into a degree, I guess, but at the same time, like, nah, like, let's just vote for the person that we think did good. So obviously things happened. We talked a lot in the jury house. A lot of these things that I know that I'm talking to you about, I learned in the jury house. You know, I you know, was ecstatic when Helena went home because it gave me an idea that I at least would have been able to vote for Kevin or Josh, even though I didn't want to vote for Josh at all. You know, I didn't close the door on that completely. And then Kevin being in final two is what secured it, because we had known about all this schemy ass, you know, shit.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. It was a bunch of scheming.
He was eating.
So
it, though,
at the triple, I just want to ask, when you found out about the events of the triple, because it was you and Herman in the jury, were y'all basically immediately like, well, we're not voting Josh, or what's T on that?
Oh, I wasn't voting Josh. I wasn't voting Josh as soon as I left. As soon as
already.
After all of that wishy-washy garbage that he gave me, and that he was just like, you know, and he was like, oh, maybe I'll vote for you, and like Betty was really trying to work to save me and all this stuff. I was like, no. I'm like, I am done with Josh. Like, if you guys watch like the stuff that I said on jury tapes and all that stuff, yo, I was like, put a bag of chips next to my guy. I'm not gonna vote for him. Like, I hate this man. He did me dirty. He did Herman dirty. He did Summer dirty. You know, like I'm like, no, I'm like, I can't. I was like, I can't vote for this dude. I don't like, not even that I don't like him. I was just like, he's just slimy. But I didn't close. The thing is, I said that publicly and I kept saying it because I did feel that way, but I didn't completely close the door on voting for him, to be quite frank. Like, if it was Betty and Josh, it really would have been tough. Like, I probably would have voted for Betty if she had brought him to the final two. But it just was one of those things that, like, at that point, I was just so salty about everything that I'm like, nah, yo, I can't rock with this dude. Like, no, you know. But I love Josh now, though. I love Josh now.
Okay.
No, he's a sweetheart. Okay, I just posted a picture with him on Instagram. We're friends, I promise. I love him. But it was just in that moment, I was like, this snaky snake. I was not voting. Like, when I walked out of that door, I was like, you know, my vengeance was at Josh. I wanted him to walk through those jury doors. But, you know.
So were y'all shook when he picked Kevin over Betty?
No, because Helena had told us that everyone was picking, or JC Lynn. Jace comes into the jury house and says, Kevin is going to final two. And we're like, what? Kevin's going to final two no matter what. It doesn't matter. Everybody's bringing Kevin to final two. Helena's bringing Kevin to final two. Betty's bringing Kevin to final two. Josh is bringing Kevin to final two. Everyone's bringing Kevin to final two because they feel like they have the best chance to win against him. And I was like, really, eh? Then Helena walks in and says the same exact thing. And it's like, this is Kevin's game. And I'm like, well, there you go. Sure enough, we were right? Or they were right. I don't know what Betty would have done. I feel like Betty would have taken Josh, but if she's really smart, maybe in the moment she would have been like, yo, I'm sorry, man. I got to get rid of you. I'm bringing my boy Kevin. So it was just, no, we were not shocked because it was like, it seemed to be that Kevin had just woven his way into every conversation to be the guy at final two that was the most valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jesus. Well,
that was the game.
That was the season.
That was the game.
That was the game. Do you have any final things that you want to say?
No, not really. Honestly, it was just like, it was a lot of fun and I enjoyed myself, and, you know, I adore all the people that I was on the cast with. Like, you know, regardless of how other people might feel, like we played a savage game. Like not individually, but like, you know, Big Brother's a savage game, and and I love it. I love like playing it is like, I wish I could replicate something like Big Brother in my regular life. Obviously, it's so fun. It's so fun. Obviously, like I said, I'm gonna get into this new one, but look, I think everybody, regardless of how you might feel about them, I think everybody deserves a certain amount of love because it is a very stressful environment to be in, y'all. I'm telling you, it's scary. It's every day you like some days you can't even sleep a wink. You get like 2 hours of sleep at night, and it's as fun and great as some of us are and as evil as some other people might seem. Inevitably, at the end of the day, like we are just all people that were playing this really crazy game and in like the most intense environment. And again, hey, look, it's reality TV. Some people are going to be hated. Some people hate me. That's fine. That's just the way these things are. But to a certain respect, I just think everybody deserves a little bit of a pat on the back because it's not easy. It's really not easy as easy as it seems. And that's what I gotta say about that. That's why I say I care about all my other game members no matter what, and it's always gonna be mutual understanding and respect no matter what, because it was a game at the end of the day. There's nothing else that needs to be said about it. Like go watch the NBA. These dudes are dapping each other up all the time, and then during the game they're ready to absolutely like throw down like it's Jane and Finch where I'm from. Yeah. So yeah, it's that's all it is. I just feel like that needs to be said. Because it's not said enough.
Okay, real quick, what's some advice you have for someone to play the game, and then we'll just wrap it up after.
Sure. Man, if you want to go on Big Brother, what I will say is do not be afraid to cut anybody off. That's like the number one thing I learned. You better be ready to cut anybody off. Do not don't not be loyal to anybody. Don't get me wrong. Be loyal to people, but don't be afraid to pitch anybody's name. Go have that conversation. That's the biggest thing. Don't feel like you shouldn't have the conversation. Always be playing, always be having the conversation. Is the number one thing. Always be playing, always be talking, have the conversation. Like it's about that time. That time is right now. Go have a conversation. That's the biggest advice I can give to anybody. Don't be afraid to cut people off and go have that conversation because it will it may or may not swing the tide on whether or not you survive that week.
Exactly. Nice. That's some real ass advice to be honest.
Period. All right. We're trying to just end it off. Do you want to plug yourself? What you got going on in the future?
Man, I'm like I'm trying not to swear in these things, like
we cuss all the time.
I know, but hey, you're watching, all right? I gotta.
You're right.
You're good.
I got an image to protect, but no, no, I'm kidding. I definitely I'm just trying not to be a sailor. That was so funny. Like in the house too, I was like that. I was the swear police. I was the cookie police. I was all kinds of police, And then as soon as I opened that swear jar, it was just like, are you fucking kidding me? So, no, but for me, man, I'm just DJing right now. You guys can follow me, Moose Bendago, just my name. If you look up Moose B, I'm sure you'll find me. I'm going to be doing some media stuff as well. I have a media page called Moose Media. I haven't posted on it in a minute, but I got some stuff coming with that soon, hopefully in September. I'm just working on doing some content right now, but I'm just DJing right now, man. People, I don't know how many people are living in Toronto that are listening to this, but I do stuff in Toronto, but hopefully I'll be DJing in a city near you at some point soon, but just trying to make people laugh and, enjoy the time. Go follow my TikTok. I'm making TikToks. Hey, look, you guys might not they don't necessarily hit for y'all where you guys are from, but for me, it's like I do these TikToks where I don't know, like I'm sure you guys have like clubs and bars in your area where like this person goes there. So like I've been doing TikToks where it's like, would you rather have the type of son that goes to this bar or the type of daughter that goes to like this club? Oh. And it's like very Toronto based. It's been hitting. Okay. Which has been nice for me. But no, otherwise, like I really appreciated being on here with y'all. This was actually this was the most fun. This is the most fun conversation I've had about the game so far. You guys did a really good job. I love talking to both of you. It was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot.
Great.
All right, you heard it here first. Go follow him. Go if you need a DJ. Hit up Moose Bendago.
Right? I'm broke. I need your help.
All right, y'all. We out. Bye.
Peace.